right. Matt, thank you very much for being here today and for doing this testimonial. Can you first introduce yourself and introduce what you do?
Yeah, my name is Matthew Brink. I am trained as a clinical psychologist, but have now in the second portion of my career found myself in executive leadership. I am the founder and owner of Malama Pono Autism Centers, which is a healthcare organization focused on treating children and families impacted by autism. And we're located here in the Hawaiian Islands and have operations across several islands here.
Now, we've worked together for some time now. If you go back to the beginning of our relationship, why did you decide to ask for help in the first place? What was the problem?
Yeah, Xavier, there were two things that caused me to initially start looking to reach out for help. One is I'm keenly aware in life in general of the idea that you don't know what you don't know. And as I saw my organization, my company go from being one with just a couple of employees and being very small to start to experience success and start to grow, and it eventually got to a place where it was no longer a small business. I was aware that there were deficits and areas in my leadership and oversight of the company that I wanted to get support in. And some of those I was, perhaps able to identify and had some understanding of, but I also was looking for support in the areas that I wasn't seeing, the blind spots, if you will, that I knew I needed to shore up my leadership acumen and capacity if I was going to be able to help lead my organization to its next level. The second piece that I would point to that I was definitely aware of when I reached out for help was when you were in leadership, especially when you start to get in higher levels of leadership in larger organizations. Although you're surrounded by people all the time, you oftentimes find yourself feeling a bit lonely or isolated, or can feel that way at times. And I was experiencing some of that, and that was about the idea that there are certain things when you're a leader, especially in an executive position, that you have to carry on your own burdens that you can't take to other people, decisions, stressors, and things you would need to carry as the head of an organization that can make you feel isolated and can be challenging. And so I think both trying to develop my leadership abilities to lead my organization more effectively and also to get the support and guidance I needed in my position caused me to reach out for some help.
Thank you. Now, this is from a leadership perspective. From a business perspective, what was the situation back then?
Yeah, so I think the business was facing challenges that were probably symptomatic of what I just discussed, and that being going from being a small organization to becoming a larger organization. And so things that we were experiencing were sometimes lack of clarity around responsibilities and ownership of tasks and projects that became teams and departments. And so trying to understand strong accountability structures, we were missing some of that. We also, the culture of our organization, as a small founder-led company, had a certain culture that was effective and it worked well in a startup phase. But as we began to grow as an organization, we needed to have a bit of a reassessment or reset or discover clarity around who were we as an organization, what was our mission, and then what was going to be the culture of our team that was going to serve that mission. So, from a business perspective, we had lagging performance, to be blunt. There was lost opportunity for growth that I was seeing on paper, but struggling to actualize that growth. And there was underperforming other indicators that were lagging that I recognized needed attention. And I was putting in my best effort to try and address those things and work on the development of the organization. And still, despite my best efforts, I wasn't able to get us where we wanted to be. And I recognized I needed support in that.
Why did you decide to hire me as opposed to any other coach?
Yeah, I actually interviewed several people and worked for a short time with another individual. And in the end, I found you and decided to work with you, Xavier, because initially you came very highly recommended. and several peers in my industry had worked with you and gave you a wholehearted recommendation that carried a lot of weight for me, and that got us in the door together. And then I very quickly, after meeting with you a couple of times, recognized, oh yeah, this is the guy for me. He's going to be a good fit for my organization and for what I need.
Now, in the time that we've worked together, we did a lot of things. What would you say I provide that you value the most of all these things?
There's a lot I would point to, but I think one of the key things that's been important to me is you helping me take an honest assessment and inventory of my leadership skill set, of the things that I excel at, but also the things that can become liabilities for my company that I was not necessarily aware of or was not aware of the impact these things were having on my company. And so I think doing that early work with you was very meaningful. And I think the value in working with someone like you, Xavier, is that you can do that deeper, more meaningful work. There are loads and loads of bookshelves filled with books on business development and leadership development. There's no shortage of material and information out there. I think if someone is just looking for a quick fix, you can find a book or a podcast or a website for that. If someone's looking to transform themselves professionally and to have a lasting impact on their organization, then I think someone like you is becomes invaluable.
Thank you. Um, what has been the results so far of working with me?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, a lot of things. A couple things I would point to. One is we just have seen the key indicators and financial performance of the company has dramatically improved, and that has been refreshing. And the underlying causes of that were you helping us as an organization build stronger accountability systems. And I think I've seen the fruit of that work very rapidly impact our organization. The second and connected aspect that's come of that is the leadership team around me that I work directly with has very quickly found increased accountability to be refreshing, and for us to have better systems within our organization to clearly identify our goals and objectives as a team, but also to have high accountability structures to execute those. I, as a leader, experienced relief and clarity in it, and having that better structured. What was surprising but great was to see the team around me respond so well to that and find that refreshing. And so that was definitely something that I saw much improvement come from. The second thing that I would say is the impact it had on the leadership team around me. And through your work with not just me, but with my team, they quickly found you to be a strong resource and to be helpful. And so even now, I will be surprised when I'm in a one-to-one meeting with one of my direct reports, and they'll say, "So I met with Xavier yesterday." And I said, "Oh, you did, huh?" And they now are going directly to you and seeing you as a source of wisdom and counsel and support. So it's had a large and broad impact on not just me, but my organization and the team around me. I'm working with you, Xavier.
Thank you. And I love working with your team, by the way. If someone was thinking of working with me, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that Xavier is a strong partner. He's someone that's going to walk alongside you and meet you where you're at. I think, as I indicated, I had worked with several advisors or consultants, and I think at times my experience anyway is it feels like people are maybe selling something or are checking a box and are just kind of feeding you rote material that I could find myself in a business book. So I think working with Xavier, you should expect to find someone that's again going to come alongside you and help you do the deeper exploration and discovery of not only yourself but also of your organization. Xavier brings a lot of professional history and experience beyond being a consultant, but leading and operating organizations. And so he brings that business acumen that's well partnered with his, I think, desire and sincere efforts to see you and your organization be successful.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we haven't touched upon and that you would like to mention?
I'll add, I noted it, but it's definitely that something is stuck with me, and that is the value of having a confidant, a partner, someone that you can bounce ideas off of, someone that you can explore not only business issues and challenges, but also your own leadership development. I've really found that to be very, very valuable, and I think oftentimes founders, especially, are great at starting organizations, but not so great at managing and operating organizations as they grow. And so, having a resource, someone to help challenge you and help you develop that skill set, has been important to me, and I really appreciate that.
All right. Final question, coming back to results. If someone would ask you, all right, well, that sounds great, but what are the results in terms of numbers? Like, is there any financial improvement or anything measurable? Um, is there anything that you could share with them?
Yeah, there's the primary measurable metrics that I'm tracking in my position. We saw almost universal growth and improvement across those. So, in a healthcare organization like ours, we can look on the people facing side of things and look at things like staffing issues, hiring, recruiting, retention efforts. We've seen marked improvements there that I attribute to our work with you, Xavier. We also on some of the provider productivity and some of the key drivers in gross margin and in profitability. We've seen improvement on those. I could shift and look as well at our revenue cycle management team, who's managing insurance and funders and receivables collections. And that team, we've seen improvement in that area as well. So I think you can look across the main areas in healthcare that you need to be attending to run a successful organization. And we've seen improvement across the board. And of course, that trickles down then into bottom line financial improvement.
Thank you. Matt, thank you very much for this testimonial and for our work together.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm happy to support your work.